Let's see when it goes. Are we live? Hey there, everyone. Great. We are live. Welcome, everyone, to this Saturday's HoDiGa. And I must confess, as we know, the clocks are changing again. It only seemed like it was only a few months ago. And I was just in a complete upside down land. I wasn't sure if I was on, if I was off. Thankfully, the ladies have, kept my feet on the ground on that one. So if there was any confusion over the time, folks, then apologies for that, because you, of course, I'm used to America being 5 hours behind, but now you're only 4 hours behind until we change our clocks on the 27th. So introducing, of course, Lady G and Dianne. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And it's going to be an action-packed show, as usual. The ladies don't know all the questions that I'm going to be asking, but it's going to be based around 4 main questions. And then we're going to do some more of those one-card pulls because they're so interesting with what comes up. And I must just say, allow me, folks, because I need to announce who is the winner for, actually, I'll close my eyes here. I've got this little box here. For the free consultation, so just indulge me while I get this ready. This piece of paper unfolded. Let's just press a button. All right, so the winner is. I've got to take my glasses off for this one. Oh, it is Mamacita. So Mamacita. If you know who you are, email me at contact@hogarthbrown.com. You have got a free consultation, assuming you're still a member, of course, and all that kind of stuff. So there's that.
And she knows who she is.
Well, yeah, she probably knows. Sorry, folks, it's been a long day. And as you know, on a Saturday, I tend to kind of meet up with my friends. So I've been at a Greek restaurant all day, drinking lots of wine and stuff like that. So I may not be quite as sharp as I usually am. All right, before we start the show, let's do some shout outs. Oh, my goodness. Live TV, everyone. Live TV. That's just how it is. You can roll with it. So who do we have?
We have the drummer behind.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a kind of, look. These different kind of things. I need another sound box because it's good to have different sounds. So we have Julie M, we've got Charlie Smith, we've got Nancy Stevens, Terry Renner, Electra Storm, Marilyn Brallier, Annalie Finch, Meduches, and many, many more. Of course, I'll try and read out your names as we go forward. Okay. Let's start the show because we've got quite a lot of content to get through. So the first question is, and this is coming from Sharon Donnelly. So here we are. So could Zelensky's request for a no-fly zone over Ukraine be implemented? And if so, what impact would it have? So before we, so I'll get my cards out. And what I would want to say, in addition to that, and the ladies may know this already, the reason why a no-fly zone is so contentious is because they would literally have to shoot down Russian planes, and not only that, Russian missile defense systems in Russia and in Belarus.
Right.
You know, but let's answer the question anyway. So, yeah, no-fly zone. Can it be implemented? And if so, what impact would it have? So, Dianne, would you like to go first? Because you're normally ready the quickest.
Yeah.
No.
So I get, okay, King of Swords represents the situation. I think he's trying to, everybody's trying to be fair and balanced and ethical and moral. And, we all, I think, have so much compassion for the Ukrainian people. But at the same time, we don't want to start World War III. This is incredibly difficult. The obstacle is, well, nothing's happening. Here's like the ultimate card of action, swift action. And so the obstacle is there is no swift action. So I don't see it happening anytime soon. It's followed by the death card,
Oh man.
which is followed by the perseverance card. So I think they're going to have to hang in there quite a bit longer. I mean, I think for the Ukrainian people, it would be amazing if it happened. You know, so it would have a positive impact. I just don't see it happening anytime soon.
Okay. So, Lady G, what do you have?
Well, underneath of it, I got the wheel. The wheel is turning. And again, same thing as you, kind of trying to stick with things, and it's difficult going forward. And we have the emperor, you know, worried about what Putin's going to do. So going into it is something they may have to walk away from. They're trying to hold things together, kind of out in the cold with stuff. And yeah, this causes a lot of concern, you know, with people with that. Because we know that Putin, if they did the no-fly thing, it would give him an excuse to use whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'd worry as well. I mean, not that we should be completely, obviously, some American senators and stuff quite rightly have said, look, we should be having Putin more worried about what we may potentially do in terms of the we being America, which is a fair point. However, Putin his mindset is really, we know he's a monster, and he's a malignant narcissist, unfortunately, and we can see he's prepared to stop at nothing. He really is prepared to stop at nothing, and it's almost like I'd rather ruin a country than have it join. Do you know what I mean? Have Ukraine join, and that is a very warped mindset. In regards to the question of no-fly zone, the cards that I've got here. So look, we've got the Chariot. So this is what Zelensky wants, yeah?
Yeah.
This is what he's been calling for, isn't it? He's been like, come on, let's move, let's get this done. Let's get this no-fly zone implemented so that so we can stop the bloodshed, onslaught, etc. However, when we look in the obstacle position, what's the message that he's been getting? It's been like, we don't really want to do this. And it's not really about money in this occasion, because, of course, Ukraine has been given billions. Yeah, it's no lack of money. But we can see here, this isn't a big court card. So it's almost like the obstacle for Zelensky. He feels that what he's been given is not quite enough. Do you know what I mean? And he's not satisfied with the message from the West, because, of course, ages are all about messages, aren't they? So there's deep reflection going on. Yeah, Zelensky and Ukraine are feeling isolated, even though they're being blown up.
I know.
That got the waterworks going, and you just think, Putin is just evil, unfortunately. When we look here, in a way, we can almost, for me, this is almost like the shadow of Putin here. Yeah. We know that Putin is actually easily one of the richest men in the world, by the way. I've said for a while, I think he's actually a trillionaire, and they just can't prove it. Because if you think, if you're in charge of a country and of 11 time zones, with all those resources, he's been in power for 22 years, he is off the charts. So here, but this is like the decadence, malignant kind of wealth, corruption. Yeah, so I think that's Putin. But also as well, going back to in terms of the no-fly zone, it could be that Zelensky and his government are just feeling like the West is giving platitudes, but maybe not the fullness of what they want, because even though this sometimes can be the false knight, it's an offer, but sometimes it can be an offer that doesn't quite live up to one's expectations, if you know what I mean. So I think the West is doing the best it can, but they can only go so far before they cross that line, if that makes sense. Anything to add to that, or?
No.
Perfect. Okay, so let's do a few more readouts. So we've got Patricia Franzino, we've got Janice Packard, we've got Roxanne Clement, Donna Donatelli, Joy, Rico, Scott Allen, Dr. Liz, hello. And Kat Bill 1, and so many others. So many others. Okay, are we ready for the next question?
Indeed.
All right, I'll ask the next question, and then we'll do some astrological weather as well for you guys, just so we can see what's going on. All right, so let me just cross off that one there from Sharon. So that's done. So Sarah S asks, now that the world is seeing how quickly someone can become a refugee, will global attitudes shift? Yeah, so there's that. But I just want to add a little caveat to that. And what I wanted to say is as well is that we need to understand the refugee crisis has actually been going on for a very long time. Like Syria is a failed state. Libya is a failed state. Much of, well, not much, but significant portions of North Africa are failed states. Let's not forget too, Burma and Myanmar. Remember that? When the government completely turned against its own people. So not to belittle the question, and I can understand why it's reached such almost saturation of news, because of course this is the first time we've seen this in Europe for a long time. But let's also remember too, a lot of people have been suffering for a long time. So I just wanted to put that in there. So now that the world is, will global attitude shift?
Okay, so I would say most certainly. You know, you start off with the Lover's card representing the situation. You know, I think because we're watching it in real time and these people are just like us. You know, I think it's really hitting home. And we're just seeing it every single day. And, you know, it's just, you hear their stories and it's just heart-wrenching. But the obstacle is we had to have something terrible happen. We had to have a tower moment where millions and millions of people are all going to be refugees at once. It's going to be highly televised and there's going to be loss of life and all that sort of thing. So drastic change is coming, you know, so that's, to me, that's positive. 6 of Wands, you know, I think this is a triumph. It's a victory for, you know, I mean, the way you see some of these countries, you know, especially Poland and Romania, they really opened up their arms to these people. And there is something karmic and predestined about all of this, Wheel of Fortune. So this is a turning point, and I think it's one for the better. So I would say yes, Sharon.
Lady G, what do you have?
Well, in the center of it all, we have those on the move, you know, having to leave where they're at. But above it, we have the exchange, and the foundation of it depends on governments. A lot of it depends on governments and stuff. Because going into it, we have the Queen, sometimes slice and dice, you know, hard truth when it comes to finance, as usual, with people out in the cold. So they're going to have to take a really hard stand to get it through, because, you know, we have those that are going to give the skewing and the, you know, still fighting. We can't have immigrants. We can't have people come, you know, we still have those people. So they'll have to, government will have to take a real strong stand with it, because it's saying, you know, that we still have those that are going to fight against it.
Very interesting. Okay, so.
No.
Oh, sorry. What was that?
I said the big money people, you know, and the other ones that are, they're taking our stuff. We can't have them, you know, that nonsense going on.
Yeah. We'll have to see how it goes. What I've got for the question is, first of all, I get the, look at that, the High Priestess reversed. So what that says to me is, I mean, obviously we know the Priestess, it deals with all sorts of machinations, things behind the scenes, etc., and stuff like that. So I think there is a sense of attitudes are changing, but there is still that element of people don't really want to deal with it on their doorstep. And also as well, the numbers in this case are huge.
Yeah.
They're Huge numbers. These are the biggest numbers we've seen in terms of refugees since the Second World War, and that's not even a joke. And it's happened so quickly. Before, it would take months, even years, before you would reach millions. We've reached millions in weeks. So I think it's making a lot of people feel uncomfortable. No one likes the options, yeah. You know, no one wants to be a refugee. No one necessarily wants to be dealing with the influx. But you're absolutely right, Dianne and Lady G. A lot of people have opened their arms, and that is remarkable. And particularly as well with some of the astrological weather going on, we've got Jupiter and Neptune coming together, and that can increase the charitable side of people, like people opening up their hearts and their homes. Many are doing that in the UK. But it also can mean the breaking of spells and the casting of new ones. And as we saw recently with you know who, yeah, Mr. P, standing there rally style on the stage, pretending that everything is all right. And just for, if anyone wants, sorry, just to say, if anyone wants any in-depth on that, I've got a video starting after this where I've done an in-depth on Russia and Putin. So just watch that video where I go into the chart. Look, sleepless nights, obviously. People are having to dig deep, really dig deep, find their strength from within. However, my outcome card, look at that, collaboration, sense of community. So I think although it's been a lot of anguish for people, really and truly, I think people really have opened their hearts, and there's been tremendous courage and bravery shown by a lot of people in the world, isn't it? It's been remarkable. Did you see
you're right, and that mine is wrong, you know.
Yeah. Did you guys see the Arnold Schwarzenegger video? Did you see that? Quite interesting.
No.
He is kind of gone a bit viral, and he's appealed to the Russian people and the Russian army, and just to say, look, you're not being told the truth. And he talked about his father, who fought in literally against the genuine Nazis at the time, and he was talking about his father's injury, and he was appealing to the soldiers. Very interesting speech. But there you are, Arnie. So, ladies, are you ready for the next question?
Yes.
Okay, so this is coming from Justin's mom, because you say MOM in the USA, and we've got over 800 people who have just joined us, by the way, which is remarkable considering that I got the time wrong. So just like, or whatever, just with the timing, we just manage. So Justin's mom asks, will Biden be okay in Brussels? What do you two know about that? I'm guessing he's obviously going to Brussels.
No idea.
Yeah, no, he's going, I think, this coming week for
is he?
talks.
Right,
Yeah.
for talks. All right, let's have a look. So simple question. How will Biden be okay in Brussels? I'm going to use different cards for this one. Will Biden be okay in Brussels? Will Biden be okay in Brussels? In terms of in continuation with Ukraine, one thing I think that is good is that they're giving the Ukrainians weapons now, like all these anti-aircraft weapons. They also need anti-ship weapons. But they said the firepower that they have now is getting so strong that they're almost kind of able to create a no-fly zone for themselves in a way. And they've managed to halt the progress too of the Russians. Donation has just come in. Thank you so much, Dr. Liz, for your donation. All right. What do you have, Dianne?
Okay. So, you know, for me, this is one of the America cards. So I think, yeah, he's going over there to represent the U.S. And, you know, it's also a card of abundance and fertility. And so whatever seeds he is sowing during this talk will come to fruition. The obstacle, though, is something about he's not going to maybe like all the offers, or he may not be in agreement with everything. There could be some false promises made, even that sort of thing. But it's going to lead to a fertile new beginning, Ace of Wands. So this is actually a good thing. They're going to be talking about strategies and assessing things and just trying to figure it all out. And then the Justice card. So, I think trying to balance things out, trying to do what is the most fair, the most ethical, moral, that sort of thing. And there is something karmic about him going. Like this is sort of predestined. He was meant to be going there at that time. I think it's going to go well, but a little bit of a mixed bag of what comes out of it.
So what is the talk about? What is he going there for?
Well, I think it has to do, I believe it has to do with Ukraine and Russia, that situation.
Russia. Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Dr. Liz says, Lady G and Dianne, you're both looking lovely.
Oh, thank
no comment from me, of course. Obviously, I'm just chopped cabbage today, but whatever. Sorry, Lady G, go for it.
Oh, okay. So what I have underneath of it all, we have a lot of the big people coming together, talking about putting an end to things as much as they can, rapidly how to move forward, and putting out some new energy, talking about how to do that. In the center of it, I have justice as well, talking about some of the hidden things and victory, how to have a victory. And the governments, people coming together, talking to the ones that in the know against how to deal with the devil here.
Wow, very interesting. I've got quite interesting cards as well. So I've changed decks here because it's always good to change it up. So if we consider this as Biden, I know it's a very sensual version of Biden, but these cards. So this is the Queen of Wands, but let's remember, what does the Queen of Wands represent? Entrepreneurship, vivacity, and almost being like the host who brings everyone together. So in a way, it's quite an appropriate card. However, what is the obstacle? 5 of Pentacles. So there is this worry, of course, about what is going on with the refugee crisis. Quite literally, we can see these are the Ukrainians, just like what we were saying. So that's the obstacle. Now, will they find agreement? 5 of Wands. There's going to be tussling backwards and forwards. What do we do? How many countries take so many? The UK, unfortunately, has dragged its heels to an extent. We've kind of sped up, but not nearly as much as other countries. However, 3 of Pentacles, teamwork, international collaboration. So it seems like after a tussle, they're going to try and find a way to get together. And then when we see the outcome, it's the 9 of Pentacles. So isn't it interesting? Out of the 5 cards that I've pulled, 3 of them deal with Pentacles. So I think what it is, there's going to be, I think Biden is going to come forward. The US administration, it looks like they're going to come forward with a financial package, which is sort of like pan-European. And it suggests to me that they're going to negotiate with each other of who gets what for funding because Poland, for example, is dealing with almost 2 million. They said, I think their population has gone up by, I think it's over 11%. This is like in a matter of 3 weeks. So, and apparently a lot of these people are staying in the malls. They're having to sleep on the floors. How do all those people get fed? How are they washed? Societies aren't designed to deal with that much of an influx, of people at that time. So I think that's what they're going to be talking about, sharing that money. And obviously America is doing a lot. Deep pockets. I'm wondering where they're getting the money from, but it seems to be there somewhere. So thank you.
They just print it.
Yeah, you're right. That's what you're right. They just print it.
Pretty sure they just print it.
They just print it, yeah. So thank you. Yeah, so obvious, isn't it? So thank you, Christopher, for your donation. And do you want to add anything else to that, ladies, or are you ready for the next question?
Ready.
All right, so let's cross that one off. So that was question number 2. Okay, so we spoke about Brussels, so now we're question number 4 already. This one here, so this is coming from Isadora Clark, and what she's asked is she said, is the shift astrological or personal, spiritual, since we don't experience it as a collective? So what is that question is a bit truncated. What she was saying is all of this happening because this is the movement of the planets, or are we all undergoing our own spiritual evolution? And I would say actually it's both. Yeah. But let's just see, maybe when we kind of pull cards, we can see what's going on in that collective. So we could maybe ask, how do you think we should phrase that? How do you think we should ask Spirit about the movements of the planets and people's spiritual development? Or we could just say, what is the spiritual development for the planet? Maybe that would work.
There you go. Yeah,
that'll work.
That works.
And we've got 1,000 people who've just joined us as well. Wow. Thank you, guys. Because I know everyone loves to watch, obviously, other channels and stuff like that. So it's great that you're here, especially if moi sometimes gets things a bit confused. But don't worry, it will be back. Everything will be back. Thank you, Catherine Winston, for your donation. Situation of the world, spiritually. What's going on? Spiritual development. Oh, you know what? I feel like I need to use my other deck. When you go back to my Rider-Waite.
Okay, so I start off with the Moon card, and I'm going to perceive that as a lot of people are going through that dark night of the soul, because as you go through the Great Awakening process, you get these dark nights of the soul. And so I think a lot of people, despite the fact that they are clearly waking up, they're also feeling a bit anxious and depressed, and it's those sleepless nights. The obstacle is that things have to get worse before they get better. This could be referring to the refugee crisis, the whole situation with Ukraine, but also, there's other things going on in the world too, and just in people's personal lives that, sometimes you have to hit rock bottom. So I think, it's a tumultuous time, but it's also clearly pre-fated. It's a turning point in humanity. It's our karmic destiny to go through a spiritual awakening and to evolve as human beings. There has to be a balance. You have to have justice, and like I said, things have to get worse before they get better, I think. But then justice does prevail. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you get the card of peace, love, and happiness. Families coming together. And so, I think you just have to make it through the whole dark night of the soul type situation and all these horrible things that are going on. But I think there's a huge light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Okay, Lady G, what do you have?
Well, I have here, we have messages coming forward, looking to higher things, but they're finding out things are like a bubble. It can just burst at any time. I think a lot of people's bubbles are bursting about their systems and things, going through the mean and heavy time at the moment, the difficult times. The energy is really ramping up. We got serpent power. The energies are really ramping up, and we're going through purification. Yep.
Yeah. It's so often the case, isn't it? Just like to kind of echo what you were both saying. When it comes to these dark night of the soul moments, they're never easy. They're never easy. And as we know, we've been anticipating this for a while, haven't we? We've been saying, haven't we? Everyone's going to be waking up. This is the year. But really, what does waking up mean? It's kind of like childbirthing spiritual experience in that sense, and there is that difficulty and almost that danger there as well, and people are waking up. But it's such a shame, isn't it, that it takes war, huge financial problems and stuff like that to wake people up. But that is part of that process, and it's a process, just like Lady G and Dianne are saying. So what cards did I get? Well, there we are. I mean, that kind of says it all, doesn't it?
Yep.
So a lot of people have literally, people just had their worlds turned upside down. I mean, we've had 2 years and loose change of COVID. Remember that? Or for entertainment purposes only, just in case the algorithms listening in. But the big C, let's just say that. 2 years, and just when we thought we were getting out of all of that, then we have what? Ukraine. So, and here it's reversed. So, I mean, that needs no explanation. A lot of people are feeling lost. However, let's remember, not all of the cups are turned over. What's in the obstacle position? How many times has this card come up tonight? So what is this? What, the third pull of the Knight of Cups? So again, people, the opposite's coming up in the obstacle. People are not pleased with the offers that they've received. There's a lot of emotions, but I think part of this waking up is that people are looking at the world and they're not satisfied. Remember, we were talking about not so long ago the Great Resignation, where a lot of people changed jobs because they didn't like the offer. Yeah. And for years, it's not been a great offer. And they say actually the minimum wage, they said if wages tracked truly with inflation over the last 30 years or so, they said the minimum wage should be $20 an hour. They're asking for 15, but it should be $20 an hour, not some little crumbs that people have been trying to live on for years. So here we are. So we know that the politicians and the world has been kind of announcing messages and stuff like that because it's one, so that's entrepreneurialism. But let's imagine in the context of business, it felt like what? A paltry offer. Yeah, this isn't a king or a queen. It's like, here we go, folks. Okay, it's post-COVID. We weren't able to get anyone. Oh, maybe now I'll put up my hourly rates. There was this guy who said, oh, my God, I was offering, $4 an hour for waitresses and I couldn't get anyone. And then he was like, but I put it up to $15 an hour and I was inundated, as if that was some kind of
unbelievable.
You're like, huh? Well, of course. Do you know what I mean? Of course.
If they actually got a salary and don't expect the customers to pay their wages with tips.
Absolutely. And it's terrible. This is like what, America is a developed Western nation with third world wages. I know, I'm sorry if that's a bit strong for people, but I think that's true, isn't it? Broadly true.
It is. I've never understood that. The service industry with waitresses, they don't pay them and they expect the customers to pay them with tips.
Right. Yeah. It's silly.
Hello.
Exactly. And especially now, because we know food inflation has gone up. When I visited the United States in 2019, before this was even a drama, I was like, oh my God, the food has gone up so much. Now, admittedly, when I was going into the States in 2004, etc., and stuff like that, it was $2 to the pound. I used to call it the Manhattan sale. Everything's half price. People used to fly across the Atlantic for the iPads and stuff like that. But when I went back, the food in 2019 was already up there.
Yeah.
2022, I mean, you guys can share, like, what's been happening in because I'm just curious. What's happened to the food prices? $6 for bread, I'm starting to hear now. Is this true?
Yeah. The bread that I used to buy my brother every week, I was like, it's $6. Like, are you serious? I mean, yeah, it's a nice bread, but it's bread. But I would say, they keep saying on the news, it's going up by 8%. I would say it's going up 150%. The prices are doubling in some cases.
Oh my God. Really?
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, what I get nothing, and you cannot go to the grocery store for under $150. You're not going to have anything, you know, for two people. There's no such thing as like a $5 or $10 meal at this point. And, you know, and I do like to have fresh ingredients, you know, but even the produce, I mean, I don't even eat meat. And I mean, and then I don't know if you saw, but Hood got hacked. Hood milk got hacked. And so you can't even buy it. So it's going to change the price of milk. And I know it caused a crisis in our schools because the schools in my state have a contract with them and there's no production. So they had to give the kids water and juice. And so, yeah, milk's a big issue. Eggs, I know, are an issue. Yeah, but it's not 8%. And they said clothing was 6%.
Oh, rubbish.
Clothing did not go up by 6%. I love clothes. I wish it was just 6%.
Wow. It's remarkable, isn't it? And you would remember a few HoDiGa's ago now, but I think it was back in November. And you remember I was saying, look, guys, this lunar eclipse coming up in November, it's going to affect prices. We're going to be, the big story is going to be inflation next year because it means food. And this is before even we've even factored in the hoarding that's been happening, you know, with China. And this is before the war in Ukraine and Russia.
Right.
And Ukraine, but Ukraine in particular is the breadbasket of Europe. So what's going to happen with that? Do you know what I mean? It's just like, wow. But to finish with my little cards there. So here we are. We've got the Knight of Swords. So look, this really actually can even speak about Ukraine, actually, because look, it can be a violent card. It's about rushing forward, speed. It can be aggression. And in this context, you know, that makes sense. And then I got the Hermit card as well that came out as that outcome. So deep reflection. There can even be feelings of paranoia and, you know, people are just feeling it. There's just a lot going on. I wish we could be more positive with our cards in a way, but remember, spirit is reading through us, and that is the situation, isn't it? We can't say it's all, because it isn't.
It'll get better. That's all I can say. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, but we have to go through this, I think.
Yeah.
But how's the prices in New Mexico? Are you going through the same thing? Yeah, with the grocery stores. I mean, because I literally had to stop buying my spaghetti sauce.
Oh, yeah.
I had to switch brands. It was literally $8 a jar, the brand of spaghetti sauce that I used to get.
God.
So I switched brands.
Yeah, everything's just going up.
I mean, I know I live in an expensive state, but still.
But still,
$8. $8 for spaghetti sauce. I don't know what they're doing over there. This is, you know, we got 1,200 who've joined us now, by the way, which is remarkable. Thank you guys. Honestly, thank you guys. But look, like, okay, I'll tell you a little secret. I know this is a little digression, guys, and then we're going to go into the one card pulls, but we've covered quite a lot of ground and we still got a bit of time. So when I was in the States in 2019, one of my favorite songs or anthems of the United States is America the Beautiful. Yeah. Love that song, you know, and it's like from sea to shining sea, yeah, and it talks about fields of grain and all that kind of stuff. And what I did was I sung that song when I dipped my feet on the East Coast of America, and I sang the song again when I dipped my feet on the West Coast of America. I'd literally managed to do that. So I hope that what I wish for America is that song comes back with full force, where it will be from sea to shining sea again, and fields of grain and abundance, because America is an abundant country. And in a way, I can understand the prices going up, but really for a country that is so vast, so bountiful, should this really be a problem? Not really. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You can actually be self-sufficient, because America is huge. We know it's huge. It's absolutely, I mean, Idaho is filled with potatoes and I only saw eagles flying and, you know, a few kind of broke down cars or whatever, but there's plenty of land. Like, it shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, ran over. Okay, so are we ready for the first of the rapid one card pulls? And guys who are watching, please submit any questions if you have them, and we'll see if we can get through them, because this is going to be really rapid. So first one from Carolyn Marquez, and she said Russia has taken several thousand Ukrainians, but apparently they've been deported to Russia. This is not yet verified, by the way, guys, not yet verified, but I did see this story on MSNBC, and they said it's not yet verified. And she's asking, what will happen to those people who've been deported from Ukraine to Russia? And we're at 1,224 joining us. Thank you, guys.
There actually may be some truth to that story.
Oh, look.
You know, the victim card. So, yeah, being taken against one's will, being a hostage.
Let me change decks.
So,
Yeah, and going in and having to get some new finance, some way to get finance. Yeah.
Wow. All right. I'm just pulling from my darker deck. Let's see what's in here. Let's pull this one out. Oh, this is interesting. Look, Two of Wands, prospecting, making plans. You know, this is kind of like, you can imagine if you are taken from your country, this is going to be primarily on your mind. And also, will the world help out?
Yeah.
Because in this context, it's normally about prospecting, but in the context of being deported, this is almost like a card wishing for rescue in a way, isn't it? Because you have to wait to see what will come in. So, yeah, it looks like there might be truth to that story.
Yeah.
Looks like there might be truth to that one. Okay, so one of the questions that was asked, will Russia become truly democratic after all this is over? In my mind's eye, I'm seeing the Tower card, but I could be wrong. Let's just, will Russia become truly democratic?
So I got an interesting card, the Chariot card. So, you know, Chariot talks about moving forward, progression, because the people take control. You know, it's one of the two cards that talk about control. So the people taking control and taking their power back. So I would say yes.
Yeah, I get that they're looking at the old system and reevaluating it and not happy with what they've got now.
Wow. And look what I get. I get the 9 of Pentacles. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So here, I think the way I interpret that is with all of our cards together, with the Chariot, that is people rising forward, because with the 7 of Pentacles, they're not liking what they see. But if they throw off the yoke, this looks like this could be a prosperous future for Russia, where they could have their needs met at last. Because as we know, as terrible as things are, we need to understand this is genuinely Putin's war. These people have been brainwashed relentlessly for the last 22 years. And we can see already what 4 years can do to a USA democracy. Yeah. So imagine 22 years. These are people that aren't even believing their own children when their children tell them the truth. Yeah. So it is very deep. Oh, what was that?
I just dropped a bunch of cards.
Oh, speed read, Lady G. Spirit is coming through.
I'll have to do a big speed read because it was a whole deck.
We'll give you a moment. We'll give you a moment to gather yourself. Literally, have they gone completely everywhere, or did they land in a pile?
Yeah, no, it's fine. I've got plenty other decks.
Oh, you've got other cards. You've got other decks. So we just had another donation come in. So life is a mindset, Lorraine. Thank you so much for your donation. Now, last question here, and I think this is an important one to address. So we do have a bit of time to go into maybe a bit more depth on this one, even though it's a one card pull. So the question is, some are worried Trump will come back into power. Is this true? So maybe before we pull, what are your opinions, ladies, on the notion of that question before we pull the cards?
We're not going backwards. We really are heading in the right direction, even though I know sometimes things seem bleak and all of that. And I know we want justice to go faster, but literally you don't have to be psychic. It would just be physically impossible, because it would mean that every single one of those dozens and dozens of lawsuits would either be dropped or all in his favor.
Exactly. The dominoes are teetering now. They're shaking. They're ready to fall at any time. So yeah, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I would have to concur with that. I mean, like they say, nothing's impossible, but looking at, for starters, Putin is in trouble. Yeah, he's been the grand architect of the rise of Trump in the first place. And for me, this is just my little opinion, World War III began when Putin was able to put Trump on the US throne, so to speak. Really, that was the first hand grenade, in my opinion, because since then, the world really kind of has been at war, but it's been this discourse, hasn't it? We now have a physical war, but when we actually look at all the discourse, I think we can all agree it has been vicious, hasn't it? It has been vicious. It would take something absolutely, utterly extraordinary for Trump to become president. I don't even want to speculate, but I would say a certain Carlson on a certain foxtrot probably has more chance. But let's see what we pull. But I think we need to, talk this one out, because some people are worried.
Yeah.
So will Trump?
I get, and this is the card that I have been getting for him for such a long time, 5 of Pentacles. Him losing it all, the poverty card, losing your money, your status, your well-being, your health, your assets. It's not a good card. Here he is left out in the cold. And I also don't see Putin coming back into power after all of this. I don't even know if he's going to physically make it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's ex-KGB. I'm sure he has a little pill in his pocket that he can pop anytime before anything happens to him. So he's not going to be able to assist 45. And so, no, because this is 45's future, not Speaker of the House, not president, none of these sort of things.
It's a terrible card, isn't it? That's the card.
That's my card for 45. And I wanted to get a clarification. It wasn't that he's got the bright star. The bright star is coming. No, it's burdened. Okay, so I pulled a clarification. So yeah, no, all that stuff is coming.
Can't see it.
He can't escape it. It's his karma. He's not going to escape.
This is karma. And look at the card I get. Cups. Yeah, it's the 8 of Cups. Look, walking away.
Yeah,
having to walk away.
Turned. Yep.
It would just. I mean, nothing is impossible. But let's be like, we're all being realistic. It would take like another whole coup to happen. Every single lawsuit against him would have to fail. Literally, every single lawsuit against him would have to fail.
exactly.
Putin is in a very shaky place, and we really don't know how long he's going to be around. And he's certainly not thinking about Duck L'Orange right now. You would also have to have even many people in the GOP with the breakout of war, what's happening now in Ukraine. Really, can you really stand up and support that? Who's actually going to stand up, even in regards to the GOP? Be like, yeah, I support Putin. Yeah, let's go for it. Love it. No, you just can't. You just can't. It would take something utterly extraordinary, and I just don't it's just Trump has got too much against him. But it does mean though that the Democrats still, of course, they can't take things for granted, and it's not a shoo-in.
Exactly.
So there's that. But the chances of Trump himself becoming president again, and remember as well, he's already violated so many things. He took papers home. Do you know what I mean? He took, he can't technically run for office because he's actually broken that thing, and it's bona fide. Like, it's so, they would literally, the law would have to be changed. So many different things would have to be changed.
Right.
You'd actually have to change the US Constitution for Trump to actually become president again. And I don't.
And he tried on January 6th, but our democracy worked. Our government held up. So yes, he's already tried and he already failed, and he's out of office, isn't he? So even if there was another coup, I do believe in our democracy that it will hold up again.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to be able to do another coup. I really don't. No. He's not in that position anymore.
Yeah.
And too many nobody really backing him like that.
Exactly. And those trials of those people, from what I understand, and thank you, Kamansu, for your donation. I understand, is this the case? The trials now of the Jan 6th people have started to happen. Are you really going to want to put your neck out again for another one?
And they're all cursing Trump. Because they said, we thought you would protect us.
Yeah.
And some of them even have said, like, I was brainwashed. So most of them aren't staying loyal.
No.
Just the opposite. So.
Yeah. Busted flush, I think. Trump is a busted flush. It would take something absolutely astronomical, but we've pulled the cards, we've read the energy on this. It just doesn't seem to be there. But the Democrats shouldn't be complacent. But in terms of
that's true.
Trump being the next one, long shot. Not even, I don't know. I don't even think there's a shot in the sling, to be honest. I don't even think there's a pebble in there, but we'll have to see. And we've just been joined by.
I have a question before.
Sure.
I forget it. What is going to happen to all those supporters of Putin here? Like Fox News and all those ones that want to. What is going to happen when he falls?
Great question.
Should we pull a card on that?
Yeah, let's pull.
And
we've been joined by 1,355 now.
Wow.
God, wow. Thank you, guys.
Lovely.
All right. So what was that, Lady G? What will happen to all of
those ones that are supporting Putin, all of our Fox happy people that Putin is fabulous.
They are translating everything Carlson is saying word for word into Russian.
Yeah.
It's getting like 21 million views. Yeah.
Oh, that's disturbing.
Yeah, that's why I want to look at it.
Creepy.
Yeah.
So I get Ace of Swords. There's a new beginning where truth prevails. This is the sword of truth, and it's double-edged. Mm-hmm. It's fair. It's balanced. So I think that this just plays right into that great awakening. You're going to have lots of people waking up. That's what I say.
I get that too, because the truth is going to hurt. Those that have been all the Putin supporters, the truth is going to pierce them. It's, they're going to go down.
All right. Look what I get. Death.
Oh, Lord.
That's it. They're done. They're done.
They're done.
They're
They're
done.
done. Because what's happened is with this monstrous side of who has come out now, is naked. Like you can't deny it. Do you know what I mean? You can't deny it. I mean, I think with that bombing of that hospital, that maternity hospital, I think anyone now who is saying that is a good thing You know, like literally they were showing. I can't even go into it because it's so intense. But we all saw what we saw. Yeah.
Yeah.
How can anyone with any shred of animated human spirit support that? Do you know what I mean? And to see a certain person on Foxtrot who is going with this propaganda, and you're just like, I'm astonished. He's even there. Like, I don't know how it works in America, but literally that person would have just been pulled off air and sacked ages ago. How can he stand up there and advocate for this man who is doing war crimes in front of the world? We're not saying that this has never happened before. It has happened before, but this has happened in a social media age.
I wonder. Right. I wonder if they've got dirt on these guys.
Definitely holding something over there.
Let's do a poll. Do they have compromise on these guys?
Great. Yeah. Why not? We've got 5 minutes left. Ooh,
we got time
you're on
left.
fire, Lady G. You're on fire. Do they have compromise? Let's go. Is there compromise on these Putin supporters?
Well, I would say if they don't, they're looking for it. They're working hard. They're working hard behind the scenes to get the desired results. So yeah, I would say.
I got the death card, putting an end to stuff. So yeah, do it our way.
Wow. And the outcome card, look, I got the sun, full illumination. Full illumination, everyone. There's going to be nowhere to hide. Once this all starts coming out, there's going to be nowhere to hide. When they join up the dots with the money, with the influence, I think that would be the case. Well, I think that has been extraordinary. We've only got a few minutes left, so I'll do a few more readouts. And the time always goes so quickly. So Annalie Finch, Vera Di Chico, I think that's how you say that. Chicoco, maybe. Oh, God, I can't even. Sorry, forgive me, guys. Elizabeth C. We've got Spirits Beyond the Stars, which I think I said before. Texas Girl in VA. That's really interesting. So nice to hear from you, man. My scrolling button has stopped. There's something. Oh, here it's come back now. Electra Storm, Aspie Third Eye. Thank you as well for all the donations, everyone. I hope you found that an interesting show. Let's say there was some salt and pepper in there, wasn't there? Like, we wanted to be optimistic in terms of this great awakening, but just as the ladies were saying, it tends to be darkest before dawn. We are going into the next level, and we're having to kind of let go and throw off all of these old regimes and this old patriarchy, which we see breaking apart in front of our eyes. The divine feminine is coming in. Don't lose sleep over Duc L'Orange. I can't see how he would get in, but at the same time, the Democrats can't be complacent. And but it was very interesting. I hope all you guys enjoyed the show. So I want to say thank you to.
I want to say real quick though, before we go, don't forget the tower is enlightenment. So all that stuff has to fall. It's all got to dismantle. So get rid of ego. All has to dismantle before realization takes place. So we're in the big shakeup now. We're going in the home stretch.
Even for the oligarchs this time. Even for the oligarchs, they're having so they're having real tower moments. But thank you all. That was brilliant. I'm glad everyone enjoyed the show. That was a big number. I think that's one of our biggest numbers. I mean, obviously, being a little bit later, I think more people can tune in. But we really appreciate you guys joining us. So, Dianne, thank you again for your talents and skills and gifts and insights. And of course, Lady G as well. Thank you for your talents, skills, and insights. Brilliant as always. I think you were on fire tonight, coming spontaneously with those questions. And someone has just quickly squeezed in a donation. So Melanie, thank you so much. And we will see you guys next week. Keep the questions coming in. And let's also, as well, it's hard because we are under bombardment with the news, but we can see what else we can bring into that mix as well. We will be talking about Ukraine for a while. I do believe they're going to win. I think Zelensky is very well protected. There's no guarantees, but trust me, if you've got Israeli special forces protecting you, it's going to take a lot to take that person out. So let's just put it that way. So, but let's leave it there. So thank you very, very much, everyone. And we will see you next week. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.